Hello, and thank you for joining us here on Axis Asia. I'm William Hildebrandt. Coming up, forced slavery in a billion-dollar industry. Thousands of people across Asia are forced to work on fishing boats, a practice that has broken bodies and torn apart families. And an alternative energy paradise tucked away in the Himalayas. Bhutan is leading the fight against global warming by teaching children the importance of going green. And in China, they're called boiled dumplings. With an aversion to sun, sand, and salt water, these are swimmers who prefer to beat the heat by flocking to overcrowded indoor pools. But first, it was a story of modern-day slavery, an investigation that pushed the Indonesian government to act and rescue more than 2,000 people from being forced to work on local fishing boats, often for years with no pay and at the hands of merciless captains. 2 years later, we can check in on some of the victims and see how they're adjusting to normal life. Luke Trego reports.
This was the scene 2 years ago when Myint Bang found his freedom and family back in Burma after 22 years of forced labor on an Indonesia-based fishing boat. At the time, his family were overjoyed, swearing they didn't care about money, they just needed him back. 2 years later, their words are being sorely tested. Myint wants to work, but was left badly weakened down his right side by a stroke-like attack in Indonesia. Now he has to survive with his sister, her husband and their 3 children on just $5.50 a day.
I still have no idea how to keep going and how to try to survive in the future with my health situation. I'm not fit to be anywhere else, so I'm still living with my sister.
With no money to spare, Myint's dreams of running a snack shop are destined to remain just that. He says his life is better now, but the horrific treatment and beatings he received at sea are never far from mind.
Of course, I'm so angry with them. I have no idea how to describe my feelings in a word. I would say I might eat them alive when I see them again.
It's a common theme with many of those forced into such modern-day slavery. Sreev Kree now tends his lotus flower crops in Cambodia, earning about $10 a day. It's hard, back-breaking work, but nothing like what he suffered through at the hands of unscrupulous captains.
I thought my life could end at any time, and I realized that I was in a dangerous situation. If I was unlucky, I could be killed, and my body could be thrown into the sea.
Sreev never wanted to be a fisherman in the first place. He suffered from seasickness. After his rescue, he volunteered to testify against his captain, though is still waiting for his day in court. Now he vows he'll never leave home or family again.
Now that I'm farming, it's much better, although sometimes it is hard having to spray pesticide and things like that. Now if I'm tired, I can take a rest for 1 or 2 days and no one complains. No one forces me to do anything.
Others have taken a more spiritual path to recovery. Praset Jakawaro docked twice a year while held on his vessel if he was lucky. After his rescue, he felt a huge amount of hatred. Anger he tried to drown at the bottom of a bottle. It was only after a Thai charity, the Labour Rights Protection Network, helped him that he finally found a safe harbour in Buddhism.
I feel like I'm living in a dream, and it's filled with happiness in myself and in my heart, because I'm in the right place. If my fate would allow it, I'd like to live a long life, to guide believers on their path, perhaps to build a temple.
Praset was luckier than many. The boat owner who'd held him sent him a settlement of $2,250, far short of the $9,000 he said he was owed, but more than many who received nothing. That, along with time, has softened some of the pain, though it still proves hard to turn his back on the scars of the past.
Well, Bhutan is often referred to as the happiest country in the world. It may also be the greenest. High up in the Himalayas, the air is not only thin, but clean. That's because every year this Buddhist kingdom produces less carbon dioxide than it consumes. Next to the ABCs and maths, being green is a value the children learn in the schools.
The school day here in Bhutan starts with a bell, a prayer for the king and an assembly. Every morning, the principal shares with her students new ways for them to lead a greener life.
Help your parents to reuse the plastic bag when they go for shopping. Do not bring new plastic home. Help your parents to reuse that one.
Daily lessons include maths and reading, as you'd expect, but there's also a major focus on environmental education.
This tree is important because when it grows up, it will give us fresh oxygen. This is a carrot. This is a type of onion. This is potatoes. This is lettuce.
The head teacher says lessons like these are perhaps the most valuable the children will receive.
We are helping children to understand that without nature, we cannot survive. The nature means our future.
In Bhutan, it's not just the children who take gardening seriously. Karma, a filmmaker, has returned to the spot where he set the Guinness World Record for planting trees.
We have planted 49,672 trees.
All that in just 1 hour, under the eyes of Bhutan's Queen Mother. Aside from the record itself, Karma says planting trees is simply a question of survival.
We are sandwiched between two big countries, China to the north and India to the south. They have a lot of factories, a lot of pollutions, they have water shortage, they have drought, famine. It's all because of the lack of trees.
Forests cover almost 3/4 of Bhutan, which means that today the small kingdom absorbs 3 times more carbon dioxide than it produces. Electricity here is 100% green and comes exclusively from hydropower, while farming is also done in an eco-friendly way. But there's still one area where work remains to be done. Over the past few years, the number of cars and trucks has increased 7-fold. So the government has stepped in, taxing car imports up to 120%. Electric cars, however, are tax exempt.
Government can do anything. If they want to get rid of those gasoline cars, they can develop the tax on those gasoline cars, provided they have quick charging stations installed throughout the country so that people are encouraged to get this electric car. So there are high possibilities that Bhutan can become an electric car country.
Bhutan may be just a peaceful Himalayan kingdom, but today it's leading the charge in the fight against global warming.
Now, for most of us, the idea of a beach is paradise, sun, sand, and the sea. But for many people in China, that recipe takes the fun out of cooling off. Some want to avoid getting a tan, and most don't know how to swim. That goes to explain the growing popularity of gigantic water parks across the country, where there are all the elements of the seaside without any of the hassle. Josh Vardy has more.
On Chinese beaches, a rubber ring is an essential accessory for children as well as adults. Many people here don't know how to swim. On the other hand, beach towels are often left at home, and most people on the shore remain standing. In Chinese society, having fairer skin is often seen as more desirable than bronzed flesh. Despite the heat, many people here on the beach are fully dressed. The beach isn't the only option for Chinese people to relax at the water's edge. Indoor swimming pools are hugely popular across the country. In local slang, going to these enormous leisure centres is known as boiled dumplings. They're so packed it can be hard to do anything in the water other than stand. This water park in the eastern city of Shaoxing is one of the biggest in the country. Included in its 30,000 square meters is a real sandy beach kept at a level temperature of 30 degrees and in constant shade.
On the beach, we can't stay too long in the sea. Our skin can't take the sun.
Here I don't need sun cream or an umbrella.
This whole family comes around twice a month.
There are loads of attractions. It's great for the kids.
The temperature's good and it's cleaner and less salty than the sea. The sea is too salty.
It's also a question of security. Here, most people wear life jackets in the water, and a lifeguard keeps a close eye on the children.
Hey kids, come closer in.
For the parents waiting on the shore, there's music and performances, while the grandparents can get their feet nibbled by fish.
You can't do this in the sea, only at indoor swimming pools.
With only 2 days of paid holiday a year, this family is trying to make the most of their time together.
We have less holidays in other countries, so we need our weekends to relax. We work so hard in the week.
The director of this water park says that as China's middle class has expanded, so too has the need for places like this.
China's development has meant that we don't need to worry about food or housing anymore. Now we have a comfortable life. So the next question is how to have fun. And here we have everything needed to have fun.
The park even offers cases for visitors who cannot be without their mobile phones, even in the water.
It's better to have your phone on you. When you're young, you're always on social media. We can call people, take photos, and send messages at any moment.
The nearest real beach to this aquatic supercentre is over 900 kilometres away. That's a roughly 10-hour journey by car. Many of these children have only seen the sea on television, but despite its distance from the natural world, seem happy enough with a man-made alternative.
And finally, 8,000 fish may sound like the perfect recipe for an all-you-can-eat fish fry, but it's actually a work of art. This is Japan's Art Aquarium, a roving treasure trove now in its 10th year. During that time, it's held more than 30 shows in Japan and abroad, attracting millions of visitors. Creator Hidedomo Kimura said he wanted to make an installation that was alive rather than using materials or pictures. The exhibit uses lights, projection mapping, music, and a myriad of fishbowl designs. Sounded fishy to me too, but after seeing it, I say it looks like a whale of a time. That's it for now. Please stay tuned to France 24.